Okay, we are back. I'm very happy to have on the Goldstein on Gelt show Alan Vaysberg, who is the creator of a fascinating system called the Seamless Method. He's speaking to us from Chicago. Alan, tell us, what is Seamless all about?
Seamless is a program that basically tries to tackle things that we all know we should be doing, but still don't do. And the program is teaching you how to do it and how to fit it into your busy life.
I think that everyone has that. Of course, we specifically have that in the world of finance. Can you give me an
Mhm.
example of maybe how people apply this?
Sure. Again, we all know that sleep is a good thing, but most people don't get enough sleep. So the program teaches them how to do it in a very, very practical way. Nothing esoteric. We're really down to earth. Here's what you can do. We know you're busy. Here are the things and steps that you can apply. So sleep is one of them. We tell you how to eat properly. Everybody knows that we're supposed to drink a lot of water. We explain why, and then we break it down into a way that you can actually do it. Meditation, getting enough fresh air, things like that. All very simple things that everybody can do on their daily basis.
Okay, and I'm noting, for those of you who weren't actually paying attention to the spelling, that Alan is describing seamless, and the S was for sleep, and the E was for eat, and the A was for air, and the M was for meditation. Well, since I started, can you tell us what the last four letters are about?
Sure, and sorry, I'll fix one of those. The A was for activity.
Activity,
Uh,
sorry.
we're helping people be at least active for 30 minutes every day. So M is for meditation, L is for three different types of love, loving yourself, loving others, and inserting something that you love into every day. E is for expansion and growth because we need to continue learning and building new neural pathways all the time. S is for stress reduction, and the final S is for sunshine and fresh air.
Okay, so let's focus for a minute on the stress reduction issue
Hmm.
because, frankly, in my real life, in my day job is that I'm a financial advisor, and
Hmm.
so of course I'm dealing with the markets. And as many people know, dealing with money is one of the most stressful things that they have to deal with. Not simply because of the effect it has on their future, and that can be very daunting, but even within a family, the stress that dealing with money brings on can cause all sorts of other problems. Can you give us some hints or ideas for how people might deal with stress?
Yeah, and certainly you're absolutely right. Stress and money are really tied together at the hip. In terms of what we can do on a daily basis, are just simple things, and we're not going to be solving your money problems, right now on the show. I think that's what your job is for. What we do is we help people with practical tools. For instance, all of us tend to hear that multitasking is good, and we try to multitask. Well, multitasking actually adds to stress. Research shows that those who multitask actually lower their IQ. They decrease their brain density, and they tend to be upset a lot more and unable to do things in a sequential order. So, multitasking, we try to get them out of there. If you come home and you try to relax by watching television, unfortunately, if you turn on the news, it's not the most relaxing thing. Neither are the TV shows. And there is plenty of research, and my personal experience gets to the point where your brain is so stressed because brain cannot tell whether it's actually happening or you're watching it on a TV. So that stress response tends to kick in, and your body is not resting. It's doing quite the opposite.
What about reading instead of watching TV?
Reading is good, but again, reading on what? So there is research done on the blue light that unfortunately we have on all of the computers, iPads, and all of the electronic devices. Blue light is one of the worst things that actually is for your brain, and it triggers cortisol. So it makes it more stressful. So if it's just reading a book in an environment where there is plenty of light, it's great.
Okay, well, I'm a little bit unhappy with your answer about the reading on the iPad because I do that, but I switch between the iPad and a book. Thank God for Shabbat when we can't use iPads. So we
It's an excellent break that's built in. I agree.
it must have been that God knew about iPads when he set up the system. We're talking with Alan Vaysberg, who's an expert at helping people really achieve some of their own greatness. They can really achieve their own potential in a way, frankly, Alan, it's very interesting. And I want to stress why we're talking to someone like you on a personal finance show. It's that most of the problems that I see that people have with money are related not because they don't understand investments or they're picking the wrong investments. It's because they're handling their money poorly. They overspend. They buy something because it's a 2-for-1 special. They don't save. They don't even bother putting money into their 401k plan.
Hmm.
So I think that the basics that you're really addressing now are so important because you're helping people just to improve how they handle their everything in their life, everything on a
Hmm.
step-by-step basis. So let's dive into one of the areas that I think you talk about quite a bit, which is sometimes someone's on the right track to doing something, whether he starts by doing a financial plan and has all the excitement to save and invest, but then he quits. What can you teach people about what to do before you quit?
It's a very good point. And again, coming from my own personal experience of being an entrepreneur and coming to the U.S. with no money as an immigrant to building a multi-million-dollar a year business in an IT world to quitting that and continuing to pursue my passions, I've been kind of on all segments, and quitting is a part of that. So before we quit, quitting tends to be an emotional decision. So one of the things that we need to do is to remove emotion out of it. Easier said than done, absolutely. But take a step back and really assess your situation, assess the types of moves that you are able to make without having that emotional outcome. Don't burn the bridge. I spent 15 years building IT consulting companies, and I have that bridge that continues to bring money to me. Just because I quit IT doesn't mean that it's not bringing me money anymore. So don't burn that bridge. You
What
never know. Go ahead, sorry.
explain what the difference is between quitting
Mhm.
and cutting your losses.
Cutting your losses to me means that you realize that this is not the direction that you want to go to, and you're okay moving in a different one. Quitting means I am done. I don't care. I don't know what's happening. This is not something I want to do. I'm out before creating another avenue of where you're going. So my suggestion is before you make that emotional quit, is take a step back. Don't get emotional. Assess the present. Assess where you want to go, and then create a transition plan to get out there.
I think I would even add to that because
Hmm.
I think in this paradigm we're discussing that a parallel to quitting would be selling out your stock portfolio when the market crashes,
That's
which
true.
lots of people do. The market goes down
Hmm.
and they go, "Oh my God, this what a mess," and they just sell out. And of course, retrospectively, we all know that that's usually a mistake. Now, past performance is no guarantee of future returns, and I cannot tell anyone on this show that if the market crashes, it's going to go up again. But I think that one of the other tools that people can use is what we'll sometimes refer to in the behavioral finance world as pre-deciding. Decide what you'll do if the market crashes, or
Hmm.
I guess in areas that you work on, decide how you're going to make a decision about either cutting your losses so that you're not just a quitter. Is quitting a bad thing, you think?
It depends on the definition of quitting, but to me, quitting in a general sense of stopping midstream and saying I'm going to do something else is not bad. Many people are afraid of quitting and they stay way too long, in your speak in a financial position. That's a losing proposition for them. It's okay to change direction. You can change direction, do it properly, and come out better on the other end. So quitting on its own is not a bad thing. It's how you do it.
I think, in fact, this is something you talk about on your website. You refer to that as recalibrating.
Mhm.
What do you mean by that?
Recalibrating, we can talk at it from the esoteric perspective if people care about that. It's changing the vibrational frequency. From the mainstream perspective, what we're doing is we're realigning with where we want to go. So if I choose to focus on one career instead of another one, then I have to change that course and I have to transition to that. I am recalibrating. I'm constantly trying to tune with what it is that I want to achieve out of life, whether from the financial, personal, interpersonal perspective, and then I keep utilizing that until I get there.
Is this something you do all the time, or you just pivot and then you start on your new course until it's time to recalibrate again?
Yeah, the major moves, are not done often, but throughout the day, you're doing all the minor adjustments because we are, people from the emotional perspective, from the stresses that you were talking about, we tend to adjust all the time. And then we tend to deal with those adjustments in a healthy way or an unhealthy one. Unhealthy would be going out and, getting drunk or eating lots of ice cream because you feel bad. That's not necessarily a good way of coping with it, although sometimes it's okay. And there is a healthy way of doing it. Just relax, understand that life is ebb and flow, and continue readjusting. Find the triggers that upset you and know the coping mechanisms for those.
So maybe as we're just about to wrap up, can you give us
Mhm.
you've certainly dealt with many, many people and through all sorts of
Yeah.
stresses. If you want to leave the Goldstein on Gelt listeners with one step they can take today in order to relax and get rid of some of the stress that is bombarding them every day, what would you like to leave them with?
Meditation. I know they've heard about this. I know, me personally, I heard people talk about meditation, and I never really did it until a while ago. Meditation is key because meditation allows you to disconnect from all of the external elements, go within yourself, be alone with your breath. It does not need to be a long endeavor. 10 minutes after you wake up in the morning, 10 minutes before you go to bed, 20 days of that will recondition your brain. Meditation is key.
Okay, well, we will take that as a great step. I'll encourage everyone to check it out and to learn more, Alan, about what you're doing. So in the last few seconds, just tell us, how can people follow you and follow your work?
The easiest way would be to go to the couple of websites. So seamlessmethod.com, SEAMLESS method.com, or alanvaysberg.com, ALLENVAYSBERG.
Okay, and we will put links to those at the show notes of today's show at goldsteinongelt.com. Alan, thanks so much for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
You are listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.